Intelligent, where we talk about what's really happening at the intersection of leadership, AI, and human potential. Today, I'm pleased to welcome a guest who is not only a co-founder of pipIQ, but a mentor to me and so many others. Whitney Horton joins us today to talk about creating space for freedom, balance, and impact through private AI. We'll talk about how secure, structured AI can unlock time, restore trust, and help leaders focus on what really matters. Whitney Horton is the Innovation and Development Executive for Tarkenton, bringing over 2 decades of experience unlocking leadership, service, and sales potential while fostering genuine human connections. As a leader, she has designed award-winning learning programs that have transformed client outcomes and built lasting partnerships. For over 7 years, she has worked alongside Tarkenton to fuel their shared passion for the client experience and help shape a closed AI system that centers on data security, intelligence, and trust. pipIQ. Whitney, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hannah, thank you for having me here today. It is such an honor and privilege to be talking with you.
Oh, I'm so excited. Let's get into it. I
Sure.
know just from knowing you that you believe the future of any organization lies in building trusted relationships and fostering a culture of innovation and growth. How does AI come into play with that future?
Hmm. It's okay. Here's what's really interesting to me because everyone always thinks AI is kind of taking over, right? They're going to take our jobs. I actually go the opposite of that and think, how can AI enhance what we're doing? Look, I'm gonna be honest. If you look at the way we handle jobs today, it's like if you've got 12 steps in a process that you're doing, I want to get it down to four. At the end of the day, we're all like, I'd rather be lazy than work hard, right? So if I've got 12 steps to do something or 18 steps, I keep wanting to cut it down. Like, how do we make it simple and easy? Well, AI helps us to do that. If you've got 100 tasks that somebody needs to do, how could you use AI to make it simple and quicker? And if we do that, that actually frees up the human side of it. Where I actually think where AI is going is one, what tasks can we that are we're doing that are redundant? What can we have AI help us with? And then once that frees up time, the human connection. So where I think businesses can really start to enhance is one, yes, use AI to get those mundane tasks out of the way, but then allow people to the human to human touch. That connection is what makes the difference. It's yes, AI can make things go away, but allow people to be human and talk, basically.
Yeah, so we're not about AI taking human jobs here. It's about
Oh.
enhancing our jobs so that we can be more human.
Yeah. Oh, the whole I I want to be lazy. Like I said, I want 18 steps. Let me make it easy. I still remember my grandmother. Okay, so my grandmother, hands down, one of the best cooks I've ever seen. God, I miss her cooking. Her cooking was amazing. She spent all day in the kitchen. Now, me personally, she showed me a couple of her meals. I don't have the time. I mean, it is all day, like chopping and preparing and this methodical steps, and you got to marinate and you got to do this. I'm about the Instapot. I want to know how can I take that thing and do it quicker and faster to free up my time? And I love those recipes, but how do I make them where it's more conducive to my lifestyle? So for me, I kind of look at it like that's like what my grandmother did in the kitchen is what we're trying to do with AI. How do I take it down to a crock pot? How do I take it to an Instapot? How do I take this thing that I've been doing forever and make it simple?
I love it.
Yeah.
You've worked inside Fortune 200 companies and now champion small
Yeah.
and medium businesses. What opened your eyes to the challenges smaller businesses face when it comes to AI?
Oh, yeah. So most of my career was in a Fortune 200, several smaller 200 companies. And what's interesting is the larger companies, traditionally throughout history, those larger companies, technology gets focused on enterprise companies, right? The big, like when, Microsoft is coming out, how do we get into these big enterprise deals? And all of these larger companies had software developed for them, and they spent years heads down trying to develop the latest and the greatest big software. That's great. What I've always seen then is the trickle down, where a big company gets a brand new piece of software. Then they're like, oh man, how do we take this? And everybody else tries to customize it and fit it in for smaller and smaller companies. Well, guess what? we now, for the first time in history, have an opportunity where these big companies, they're still trying to figure out what AI is going to look like, what the future of technology is going to look like. They're going to be looking at it for 18 months. Technology is moving so fast right now that in the small to mid-size space, this is the chance, the one time in history where if you take AI and apply it the right way quickly, you can outpace the big Fortune 2s. They are going to be in death by committee for the next few months, few years. Small, nimble, mid-sized companies have the ability to shift and adopt something today and tomorrow that they're going to be light years ahead of the competition, even in the enterprise space.
You said AI isn't about code, it's about freedom, balance, and impact. What does that mean in practice for you?
Yeah, so it's freedom. For me, AI is take the things out that I really don't have time and I want to focus on. You can set reminders in it. It is like a full-time 24-hour assistant that is always on the lookout for you. That buys me time. I want to cut down the steps that it takes to do something. I want to look at something in a new way. And you know what? Do I have the deep domain expertise in every single area? No. I mean, it takes years to get there. Well, now I've got the ability, if I can think generally, how can I use something with deep domain expertise to bring into my business to help me kind of shift and be more nimble?
All right, let's shift to that small and medium-sized business lens. There's
Yeah.
reality, there's risk, there's opportunity with AI. A lot of Americans work for small businesses, yet
Yeah.
most AI tools, like you said, are built for enterprises. What's being missed when that happens?
Here's where everybody's doing the same thing they've always done, right? So they come out with a platform. I mean, our closest competitor right now is thinking very narrow, and even in the private sector, like a secured AI. Is they're thinking per seat, we can get per seat, per member, per month. We can use all, if they use more than this, that's a math equation. And I don't do math in public. And if I'm trying to figure out for my small business, I've got 5 people, but now I hire another one. Well, now I'm kind of penalized. I got to add another seat to it. And then I got to figure out it's a math equation. Where companies that are out there are missing the mark is if I'm a small to mid-sized company, I need something I can bring in today that's simple, that's flat priced. I want to grow as a company. So you know what? I'm looking to hire 10 more people. I don't want to look to hire 10 more things to the bottom line when it comes to adding more expense. So the way that businesses are approaching right now technology is how do we nickel and dime for every single thing and every token and all these things that are out there? I want to be focused on the bottom line of growth, not of how do I add more seats in.
From your perspective, what's the cost of waiting to figure AI out later? I think there's a lot of hesitancy for small and medium-sized business leaders to adopt AI. They're unsure about it. Maybe they don't know everything. What does that hesitancy, what's the cost of waiting?
Yeah, it's funny. I was in a meeting about a week and a half ago, and shout out to Ben. He gave me one of the best lines I've ever heard, and I am going to share this with you. You're either on the cutting edge or you're on the bleeding edge. And in business, right, A is not going anywhere. It's here. And people are using it right now. They're uploading private and sensitive data. I think it's like 58% of people, of employees have admitted to using unsecured AI to upload private and sensitive data of your company. If you're not on the cutting edge, you're on the bleeding edge. So if we put our head in the sand and say, oh, this AI stuff over here, people are already using it. So if you put your head in the sand, I get it. What I would ask is just make sure to lock the doors. So make sure to lock down the access to anything that is not a secured AI. If you want to be more on the cutting edge, so you're not on the bleeding edge. That would, to me, would be the bleeding edge. If otherwise, there's hacks that have happened in all kinds of technology. That's when you end up on the bleeding edge. And that's also when you end up on the front page of some article. The cutting edge is, hey, what does it look like? So if nothing else, lock down access, like I said, to those unsecured AIs, but also start to think through what is our AI strategy and do it quick and put something in place that your people can play in an AI because they're doing it already they want to make that spreadsheet better or get more data, or they want to ask questions, have a safe place for them to do it.
A fear that SMB leaders often have is compliance breaches and data risks. What
Yeah.
do those fears look like on the ground, and how can leaders turn those into confidence, specifically through AI?
Mm. Definitely create parameters. So one is a rule book. I said people are going to use it. So what can they do to kind of create some safety is to create what I like to call the red, yellow, green. The red rules are absolutely no one is allowed to do this inside of any kind of technology. So that would be like your client data, numbers, social security, credit card, anything. Never, ever, ever let it touch unsecured AI. Now, PIP's got secured AI, so you can upload anything you want in there. But that would be one. The second thing is the yellow. So what is it that people are allowed to use, but maybe need permission or maybe need to double check? And then also, where is it a good place for people to use? If they are using an unsecured AI for any reason, things maybe for like emails, just make sure we don't include any kind of data, like any specific data to a client or to the company.
You have used the metaphor before of sticky notes left in public when describing OpenAI tools. Can you unpack that for us?
First of all, I love sticky notes. I don't know, they've somehow for my whole life have always ended up all around my office or on my computer. They are a place I brainstorm. And I always think about when you brainstorm, when you're brainstorming something like, for example, let's say you go out, it's kind of like, I think they call it the third place, right? You go to Starbucks or you go to a local coffee shop to work remotely. And let's say you take a stack of sticky notes and you're brainstorming ideas for your business. So imagine being at your local coffee shop, brainstorming with a whole bunch of sticky notes. Actually, we do have a stack of them here. And you're brainstorming ideas, and then you put them up all over the walls of your local coffee shop. Well, that's a great place. I'm in here right now. I'm brainstorming my ideas. I'm putting ideas out there. That's basically like unsecured AI. If you're out using an unsecured service, which most of them are, it's awesome for brainstorming. I mean, if you haven't tried it, you even want to know like a great idea, a recipe for dinner tonight. Try it. It's a great brainstorming tool. But it is like writing what's a great recipe for tonight, sticking it on a wall of that cafe, and then fingers crossed, nobody looks at it or nobody sees it. Anytime you interact with technology in any way, there's a footprint. So your secret sauce, your way, your client's information, your information, their information, your strategy. Think about your strategy for the next 6 months. If you took a stack of sticky notes right now and wrote down all of your strategy and then walked into a coffee shop and stuck them up everywhere. Now, some of them, if they're like mine, it's humid where I live, so it'd probably be licking off the wall. But for the rest of those, if somebody else walked in, they have my entire recipe. Like they've got everything that's a secret to my success sitting on a wall. So think about where you're putting ideas and building them. And if you are using unsecured, remember those future ideas could be hacked.
And to just expand on that a little bit, Whitney, talk
Yeah.
about why privacy isn't just a compliance issue, but it really comes down to being a trust issue.
It is. Imagine you go to your doctor, right? And that's for me, I mean, I know we have laws around HIPAA, so we kind of expect it, right? But now imagine you see your doctor out in person. Kind of see a doctor in the wild, like you see your teacher in the wild. So you see your doctor in the wild and they're having a conversation in front of you and they're actually talking about you. Privacy is one thing. Yes, that's great. They're supposed to, but all of a sudden now I see a trusted partner. I see information being exchanged that shouldn't be. That level of trust, you really only have one shot to make a first impression and also a lasting impression. And if you miss those and you lose trust, it doesn't matter how many impressions you've got, it's done. So security, if you do or your employees put information out on any kind of server that can get hacked, on any kind of AI that can get hacked or looked at. I mean, 11% of companies in the last year have admitted they've had data leaks. I mean, that's pretty scary within AI. So trust, make sure when if your employees are using something, it is in a trusted, locked in place. Got one shot.
And from what you're saying, it's really these SMB leaders have the opportunity to make privacy a competitive advantage, not just a
Yeah.
checkbox.
Well said. 1000%. Well said.
You said that your goal is to make someone say, "You just made my life so much easier." What does that
Yeah.
look like when AI is working right?
Oh man. If AI is working right, the number one thing is one, you're giving everybody a full-time assistant with deep domain expertise. If if they use it right, you get a 40% lift on productivity. Now that's insane. That's like saying right now I want to work 40% more a day. Well, first of all, nobody wants to do that. I mean, it really would be like taking an 8 hour day and saying what it's like 12 or 14. Again, I don't do math in public, but that's a lot more hours in a day, a lot more productive time. AI helps people work smarter, not harder. It's like, hey, what took me years, where I'm really going to date myself. So I'm going to pull back for a second. I am really going to date myself. Originally, when I first started learning stuff, I would have to drive to a build, like to an like a library, go find a book, research it, take tests on it, memorize, study it, and then think about in time the how much time that took, right? I wanted to know about X event. Well, I have to go get in a car, I have to, or somebody take me and drop me off at a local library. I have to go research it. I've got to then read it, or I've got to go find somebody who knows something about it. Then all of a sudden, we started getting access to the internet. Now I've got access. This is the next evolution. I've got a thought about an album I haven't heard in 20 years. Let me see if I can go find that thing. I went from what took me now 2 hours to go research it, hopefully, to now I can find it in minutes. But even when the internet came out, it was like, hey, I want to know who wrote X song, or how do I fill out this? Then I'd have to sort through and figure out what do I need to use? How do I use this? So it would just be data returned. Now, in the next evolution, we've got something where I can go, hey, how do I do this? And then I've almost got a trusted deep domain expertise that goes, here's everything you need to know. Would you like to go ahead and implement it? Would you like help with this? How can I do? You've really got a full-time assistant where it may take somebody used to be 40 years to get deep domain expertise. Now, this I can use an AI really that I have somebody at my fingertips on every subject that's basically ever been put out on the internet that can do the research for me, that can help me save time, that can analyze reports. The wave of the future is also going to be people have general knowledge. So people who can think in multiple ways versus one only area. So AI is helping us get faster. It's also helping us to kind of flatten out and look at things in a new and creative way. We can save time, but a 40% lift minimum if somebody uses AI the right way.
And that lift is huge. Like you talked about, it's like hiring a assistant for every one of your employees. So let's talk about PIP specifically there, Whitney.
Yeah,
Like those making you more efficient, making you faster, making you stronger at your job is something that public AI tools can do for you as well. What
absolutely.
makes PIP different here, and why would a business choose PIP to help them get there rather than one of these open tools?
Sure. One is trust. You mentioned that earlier. Trust is huge. If I can upload all of my company private, sensitive client data, anything I need, and use the power of AI, trust. If I put it into an unsecured AI, that could be leaked, that could be hacked. That's not going to sit well with my clients. The other part of it, so is way we've built PIP is I always look at a business and I think, gosh, there are so many things that make a business very unique. Rules, processes, trainings. I started off in the training world. I remember working for a healthcare company, one of the big ones, and it would take me 12 weeks to train a new hire to be able to answer a phone call about insurance. 12 weeks. Okay. In 12 weeks, what somebody remembers is this. And especially what they remember the first week on the job is probably a pin dot. They were still trying to figure out the building and what their own benefits were. But 12 weeks of 8 hours a day for 5 days in a row for 12 weeks. And then we went, good luck. And out they went. Where this starts to set apart and where the opportunity lies is think about all of your training, all of your knowledge, all of the information your company has. When somebody is interacting with a client or somebody's working on something, right now they either got to go find the Hana in the business and say, hey, what did you say about that thing? What was it? How do I How much time do we waste doing that? With this, you can put in all of the things that make your company unique, and then all of your employees can go in and ask real-time questions. Hey, how do I do this? Ooh, help me write an email with that. It is like having a person standing over your shoulder as an employee going, hey, what else do you need help with? You want me to help you write it? Yes, I do. For just, if you start doing the math on it, it's like pennies a day. I mean, it's nothing to have somebody standing there helping you full time. And at the same time, you're not risking putting anything out there that somebody can hack.
With AI platforms, sometimes that blank canvas look where you can type anything in and get a
Yeah.
response back can feel intimidating for some people.
Yeah.
pipIQ uses structure and guidance to kind of combat that intimidation feeling. Can you talk about canvas theory?
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Do you remember the first time you saw ChatGPT?
Yes.
What did you think of it?
I thought I don't know what to do with it.
So most of us, right? Do you remember the first query you ever did or what you did? I mean, just curious. Do you
I don't
remember?
remember specifically, but I remember the follow-up questions.
Do you? Like the coming back with 400 other
Yeah,
things?
there was always a like, hey, well, how about this, or what do you th do you want it this way, XYZ, pick.
Yeah. It's mine. Had it write a country song. I was like, what? What can I write a country song about my dog and a truck? I didn't know what to do with it, right? Because it's this cool thing that what is it capable of? Well, the way that we built Pip is actually based on psychology. So you and I kind of had a similar interaction the first time we interacted with AI. It's like, what do I do with this thing? We built it where if you have been using, it looks very similar to other versions that are out there. Again, it's all based on psychology. I love to say we base everything on BS, we base it on brain science. So the way it's designed is based on brain science, where if you've been using it, now you've been using it for a while. Oh, I know how to do it. I can compare reports, I can have write emails, I can have it do compare, contrast, and learnings and trainings and cool. Or if you're like those of us who saw it went, do I write a country song? What do I do with this thing? It's based on the canvas theory. And what the canvas theory is if you've ever had a blank canvas in front of you, some people can start dipping into paint and just creating their masterpiece. Well, that's there. Or some of us want to go, hey, can somebody let me flip through them? Let me flip through something. Let me look at pictures. Let me try to get an idea of something, right? And the canvas theory is basically I need somebody to put a dot on the canvas or show me something so I can start. And from that, I can then go, oh, knowledge, productivity, skill. Okay, what can I do? And then I can click on it and go, oh, I can help it write emails. I can have it help plan meetings. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. It's really opens up your world to be more creative and think outside of the box while staying, I mean, with Pip, while staying inside the lines of your business and being secure and private. You're a mom, you're a business leader. What kind of AI culture do you want your daughters and the next generation of founders and small and medium-sized business leaders to inherit?
Ah, now you're hitting my heartstrings. Um, for businesses to look at it, we tied cutting edge or bleeding edge. Bleeding edge is I don't want to deal with something and it's here and it's a reality. I always want my girls and people that I work with in any business to go, what is the reality? And the reality is it's here. It can be for anything, relationships, friendships, and business. What's our reality? And let's start there. What does the current landscape look like? And what I always want for people to do is go, okay, so this is the reality. This is what we've got. What does that mean? What could we do? And I know people want to go, oh, the fear base. And look, I saw Terminator, and the first time I saw it, I thought the robots are taking over. We're all in trouble. Yes, we can all go to that place in the brain, the psychology of doomsday. But what if? It's if we look at it and think, could I use this to help me in some ways and try it? I mean, recipes, that's simple and more safe for someone new to use it. For a business, what could I use? Could I help it with a business plan? How, if I had somebody full-time helping me? So I love when people go into things with, hey, how could I be cutting edge? Because I know it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It is here and it's going to evolve and it's going to get quicker. So what can I do to stay ahead of it so I can continue to change? And then I'd always encourage people to say, have a wide breadth of ways you can handle things. General knowledge. What else could I do? What else creative things, not just in my space, but what else in my business or my area can I use AI for, or any new tool?
What's one mindset shift every SMB leader should make before 2026?
Safety, hands down. Contracts are being written today on a B2B level of if I write a contract with you, most contracts are now being written where it says, if you use my data or my information in any form of unsecured AI, you instantly nullify this contract. Before the end of this year, what I encourage every SMB to do is look at how are you using AI, lock down the ones that are unsecured, and start to quickly find ways to say, hey, we know people are going to use it. Let's give them a safe place to be able to use AI and get them started now.
All right, last question, Whitney. If you could whisper advice from your future self to today's business leaders, what would you say to them?
Oh, wow, that's $1 million question. Um, be ready to pivot. Technology is here. AI is here and it will continue to evolve. I would say be ready and be open and willing and plan on it. We used to do 5-year plans, 3-year plans, 2-year plans. I would encourage every small business to say, yes, we have a long-term vision. But now we need to start doing is creating almost like instead of a 3-year vision because technology is changing so fast. That's great. We need a long-term goal as a company, but I would also encourage everyone to start doing shorter-term goals. With how things are changing so fast is that pivotability of a business. It's my made up word and I love it, is pivotability. How do we pivot fast? How are we ready? So if something happens, and I would start encouraging you to do quarterly at max 6-month goals and constantly be ready to evaluate it. If you're doing year-long strategies or, hey, sometime next year, you're 6 months behind.
Whitney, thank you so much for joining me today on Privately Intelligent. And for more from Privately Intelligent and pipIQ, follow us on socials and follow Whitney Horton on LinkedIn. Thank you so much,
Hannah.
Whitney.
Thank you, Hannah.